wins when the strongest monster meets the strongest hero? That's easy. We win. But here's an even better question that the comic answers. What happens when Godzilla hulks out? Live at Thunderbolt Ranch, General Thunderbolt Ross tells a group of journalists that the primary mission of the Thunderbolts is to capture and pacify Godzilla. After ending the interview, one of the journalists asks about whether or not the Hulk is still alive somewhere. General Ross explains that the Thunderbolt Ranch is an 80-story deep compound full of all kinds of national secrets, eggheads, and monsters. Sadly, the Hulk is not among them because he is very much dead, like deader than Elvis, at least according to General Ross. Meanwhile, some guy named Bruce Banner is strolling around the Thunderbolt compound. Apparently, it's been a few years since this guy lost his anger. I'm sure we'll find out later if this is somehow important. Bruce turns the corner, and there's Dr. Demonicus, one of the main villains from the original 1970s Marvel Godzilla run. But see, neither Bruce nor Dr. Demonicus appear to be prisoners. They're members of the Thunderbolts, and in the fight against Godzilla, they're doing their part.
I'm doing my part too!
Dr. Demonicus seems to have invented a terrible containment device called the Kaiju Incinerator. It's almost as if humans and monsters are exactly the same. I'm just kidding, monsters are usually better. We cut back to a helicopter. One of the journalists is kind enough to share a little exposition, stating that the Thunderbolts have killed Fin Fang Foom, Hulk, Surtur. Despite slaying hundreds of monsters, Godzilla still remains at large. Okay, so how does General Ross plan on finally putting an end to the King of the Monsters? Ross's Thunderbolts have taken control of Kumonga, the giant spider, and they've used her to capture Mothra in like the most insidious way. After ensnaring Mothra in its webbing, Kumonga sprayed acid into Mothra's eye before crunching the back of her neck with its mandibles. Like, what? Mothra be thy name? No! At this point, Bruce Banner, he's like wondering like what Demonicus will do after Godzilla is off the board. And I'm thinking like, Bruce, the guy has demonic in his name. You're supposed to be like one of the smartest people on Marvel Earth. But just like a lying politician, Demonicus doesn't directly answer Bruce's question. Instead, he talks about how the monsters have disfigured him and that Banner should be grateful that he doesn't know what it's like to be a monster, which, you know, this whole thing seems to be foreshadowing something. I don't know. Regardless, Demonicus's plan seems to have worked. Godzilla has arrived, answering Mothra's calls for help. With Godzilla close by, General Ross tells the pilot to take the civilian reporter somewhere safe. He then proceeds to jump out of the helicopter and parachutes down into the Thunderbolt compound. What a badass. Both General Ross and Bruce Banner enter two separate cabins. Pre-flight checks are green, which is ironic for some reason. Thunderbolts 1 and 2 are ready to deploy. At first, it seems like they're about to take off in some fancy new fighter jet or something. No, instead, it's two Mechagodzillas. These Mechagodzillas were improved by the late Tony Stark. Emphasis on late, as it turns out the invincible Iron Man isn't invincible. He was evidently crushed to death by Godzilla. Now, you might be aware of this. Godzilla has a first strike policy. Upon seeing his robotic doppelgangers, he plays it by blasting the Banner-controlled Mechagodzilla out of the sky. Even Banner, from inside the heavily armed robot, squirms from the heat. But to General Ross, this is an opportunity. With Godzilla focusing on Banner, Ross's Mechagodzilla fires a salvo of missiles from its mouth, knocking Godzilla off his feet. With the War of the Monsters raging right on top of them. The Thunderbolts fear they will be buried alive, but Demonicus doesn't fear death. In fact, he plans on dragging Godzilla down to hell with him. The mad scientist commands Kumonga to attack Godzilla, but even webs as strong as steel can't stop the king of the monsters. With a thunderous swing of his tail, Godzilla sends Ross's Mechagodzilla flying back, pinning Kumonga down in the process. Banner's Mechagodzilla rises with one side of his face looking like the Batman villain Two-Face. Godzilla tears off Kumonga's webbing, staring the Mechagodzilla down. In a quick motion, Godzilla rips Mechagodzilla's left arm clean off and proceeds to beat the mecha's face in with it, bringing a whole new meaning to the phrase, "Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself." But Godzilla, he's not done. He winds up to unleash a searing hot heat beam, reducing Banner's Mechagodzilla to molten slag. General Ross orders Dr. Demonicus to use the failsafe. It's then Dr. Demonicus begins his predictable, his villainous monologue. Long story short, Demonicus knew controlling Godzilla was impossible. So his objective has always been to splice the most deadly and robust traits of all the kaiju they've slain to create the perfect life form. The horrible amalgamation of monsters. Behold, Hedorah. Hedorah wastes no time. He pounces on Godzilla like how my cat pounces on catnip. Godzilla tries retaliating with his heat beam, but Hedorah casually knocks the king of the monsters down. But when Godzilla falls, he lands directly on Bruce Banner's Mechagodzilla, and the impact makes it impossible for Bruce to eject. With systems offline and the monsters crushing the hull, Banner is given a choice between life and death. As his eyes glow green, Banner chooses life and transforms into the Incredible Hulk. Hulk jumps out of Mechagodzilla's face in spectacular fashion. Immediately, the green Goliath punches Hedorah back, all while trash-talking everyone. From puny slime monsters, mustached men, to the Thunderbolts, no one is safe from Hulk's roast, not even Banner himself. Dr. Demonicus can't believe it. Not only is the Hulk alive, but Bruce Banner was the Hulk. Hedorah's comeback is a slimy punch that shuts Hulk right up. General Ross orders Demonicus to call Hedorah off, but Demonicus, he's not listening. He seems content with Hedorah going on a murderous rampage, starting with Ross's Mechagodzilla. And you know what's even scarier about this whole fight? Hedorah's mere touch is melting the Mechagodzilla down. But hey, Hulk is finding joy in life by mocking General Ross relentlessly. To be fair, he's doing this while saving Ross's life, which makes this whole bit even funnier. After Hulk gets Ross out of harm's way, the General asks him who did they bury. Hulk reveals it was some bicycle boy named Rick Jones. But Hulk doesn't care about alternate realities or multiverses. He wants to smash all monsters, which is a nice spin on destroy all monsters. Meanwhile, Hedorah's claws are literally burning through Godzilla's eye sockets. Poor Godzilla, like he can't heal his wounds fast enough. But Hedorah's burning escapade wasn't going to stop there. No, not at Godzilla's eyes. The sludge kaiju was pushing his burning acidic fingers closer and closer towards Godzilla's brain. Suddenly, Hulk comes in to save the day, delivering a massive right hook. But you see, an effective punch on Hedorah, it isn't a good thing. Hulk's right arm is now badly burned. I mean, it's literally on fire. Now it's Demonicus's turn to trash talk, which is fitting coming from the creator of a trash monster. Hulk tunes him out by finding Godzilla, I mean. Same thing, really. At an earlier point in their lives, Hulk saw Banner use electricity to tickle his heart, so he grabs a power line cable and drives it into Godzilla. This electrifying game of operation wakes Godzilla up. But Hulk isn't done. He drips his gamma-irradiated blood into Godzilla's wound. Godzilla's eyes regenerate, but unlike before, they're glowing gamma green. Brace yourselves, true believers, because what you're about to witness may be the greatest thing in the history of ever. Godzilla hulks out. It's so awesome and ridiculous. Even Hedorah breaks the fourth wall with a motherload of "what the WTF is this?" HULKZILLA punches Hedorah so hard the sludge monster nearly explodes. Wasting no time, Godzilla unleashes a supercharged gamma heat beam that vaporizes Hedorah in a fiery flash of green light. Dr. Demonicus isn't too thrilled about seeing his creation blown to bits. Parts of Hedorah flood the Thunderbolt compound, rejoining its creator. Dr. Demonicus dies exactly how he lived. Okay, I don't think he lived being on fire, but you get the point. Now seeing the monsters as his kin, Hulk removes Dr. Demonicus' mind-controlling device from Kumonga, while Godzilla sets Mothra free. Godzilla and Hulk stare at each other like they're about to fight. The Hulk declares that he is still the strongest there is. He doesn't want to prove it today. Both Godzilla and Hulk then faint like they're anime characters. I love it. A short time later, Bruce Banner wakes up with a horrifically burned arm. The Hulk is slumbering while Godzilla is stomping off in the distance. Suddenly, General Thunderbolt Ross points a gun directly at Bruce's head, clearly pissed that they killed the wrong guy. Ross asks Bruce to give him a good reason not to pull the trigger. Yeah, the reason comes in the form of Godzilla posing menacingly over them. Yeah, I think that would do it. Bruce informs General Ross that we monsters stick together. Even though Bruce can't do anything about the monster inside him, he encourages Ross to make peace with his. Assuming, of course, he's strong enough to do so. And as the story concludes, we're left on a cliffhanger. A piece of Hedorah wrapped around General Ross's gun, suggesting the putrid kaiju is still alive. Oh, wow. Okay, you know that feeling you get after finishing a comic only to immediately start reading it again? Yeah, that's this comic right here. Writer Gary Dugan was tasked with weaving together an interesting story that absolutely nailed every single character interaction. Like, seriously, guys, everyone was done justice in this comic, from Ross to Bruce Banner, Dr. Demonicus, the Hulk, Godzilla, everyone. While delivering, also, the writer, Gary, he delivered on the action and suspense in less than 30 pages, no less. I mean, how do you do that? I guess by being a great writer. Furthermore, I dug the new Marvel origin story for kaiju fan favorite Hedorah. I could totally see something like this being adapted for a movie someday. Okay, so I apologize in advance if I can't read these names correctly. So Gamma Levels of Respect goes to penciler Giuseppe Camuncoli, inker Daniel Orlandini, and colorist Federico Blee. The art in this comic is phenomenal. Like, every page receives an A+, no notes. I'd love to see this creative team again. Speaking of which, these cliffhangers make me think these one-shots will not remain one-shots. We're absolutely getting a sequel someday, I know it. I just know these things. Godzilla vs. Fantastic Four ended up on a cliffhanger, and now so does Godzilla vs. Hulk. It just feels wrong to leave everything, like, leave this as a cliffhanger, you know? We need resolution. We need a follow-up. Okay, so I do have a few criticisms. I wasn't fond of how the monsters kept changing their size. Like, the monster sizes kept changing in radical ways. I know it happens all the time in the movies, but here it was so noticeable. I mean, it reached the point of being a massive distraction at times. For example, when Godzilla first appears in San Antonio, he looks like he's 50 meters tall. Later, after he hulks out, which will forever echo in the sacred forest of Monster Island for being all kinds of awesome, Godzilla looks more like he's 60 feet tall. especially when he's standing next to the Hulk, who's like supposed to be like 9 or 12 feet tall. I mean, at first I thought Hulk grew bigger, which he usually does when he transforms, when he gets mad. The madder he gets, the stronger he gets, and the bigger he becomes. But then we see Hulk's holding General Ross, who's, a decent sized man. And yeah, I mean, when Godzilla hulked out, you'd think he'd be like towering above even like the likes of Heisei Godzilla or something. But no, he just looks like he's 80 feet tall or something. Now, it's time to address the biggest missed opportunity. Godzilla vs. Hulk is false advertising. Neither throw down, like at all. Like, we don't see a fight between the two. Now hear me out. We will likely see them fight in the upcoming Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe. It's such an obvious, Godzilla vs. Hulk is such an obvious matchup that it guarantees a massive draw. Since I'm fairly certain we're getting a sequel someday, we are bound to see these two atomic monsters finally settle once and for all the age-old question. Who is the strongest? Now, I'm going to inject you with Gamma. In the comments section down below, share what you think. Did you like the story? What was your favorite moment? Do you think this is the last time Godzilla and Hulk will meet up? Finally, who do you think would win if Godzilla and Hulk fought? My name is Tom. Thank you so much for visiting Kaijutopia today. Enjoy your stay and try not to get stomped on by a big monster.